AEW continues to be the best weekly running show, and here's your full-on recap for if you missed Dynamite tonight. So we were supposed to start things off with a big-time champions announcement, but Samoa Joe would come on out to talk to little Tony Schiavone about what happened last week with that little switcheroonie. And as the opportunity tried taking out Tony Schiavone, out would come Eddie Kingston, Hook, and Hangman Adam Page. Then Samoa Joe would get rage-baited by Hook into turning that trios match in the main event into being a trios title match. And while this next match between Claudio Castagnoli and Orange Cassidy was not for a title, it was still very important to both men, as this was match 1 of 3 of the Blood and Guts Advantage match. If you don't know about Blood and Guts, it's War Games, except it has the top of its cage closed off. And what they like to do before the match does take place is that they'll take 3 members from each team, put them in 3 matches. Whoever wins it 2 out of 3 will get the advantage going into Blood and Guts. And while Orange Cassidy tried as hard as he possibly could, he just could not handle the might of Claudio Castagnoli. Even though he did hit an orange punch, he tried going for another one, and then he would get a Swiss uppercut. 1, 2, 3. That was going to be it for Orange Cassidy. Meaning if Darby doesn't win his match later on tonight against Daniel Garcia, Team Death Riders would have the advantage going into Blood and Guts. But before that match would take place, though, Mark Briscoe would be backstage talking to Kyle Fletcher and saying that, you know, you got that low blow on me in the match we just had. And sure, I mean, you did win the match, but is that really a way you want to win the match? How about next time we fight, it's a no DQ match for the TNT title? And Kyle Fletcher would accept, but Don Callis said the only way this match will happen is if you lose, Mark Briscoe, you have to join the Don Callis family, and Mark Briscoe accepted it. Honestly, this could be pretty interesting, seeing as how they kind of dropped that whole entire thing with Mark Davis, where they were basically holding something over his head, and that's why he was a part of the family. Now, Mark Briscoe is going to be a part of the family, but doesn't want to be a part of it, and he's getting so much abused by the family that eventually when he does get his big breakaway, like he puts his career on the line or something like that, and goes against, I would assume, Kyle Fletcher in a Game 7 match, he'll get the TNT Championship off of him, and that'll be a great storyline for him. While also giving a great ending to Kyle Fletcher, the TNT Champion as well, and then eventually moving him on to like the unified title scene, the national title scene now, or the world title scene. But I do believe it should be the world title scene because that guy is a superstar. Or there's another possible route they could go with it. As you see above me, we got the Family Summit, and we have Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, El Clone, and Rocky Romero on one side. Then you have Okada, you have Hechicero, Josh Alexander, Mark Davis, and Lance Archer on the other side. If the family does break up, right now it's 5v4 if that is the way they split things up. I don't know why El Clone would be on the good side, but okay, that's going to be really interesting. I feel like Mark Davis should be on that side, if anything, but I don't know. Maybe they're kind of just throwing us for a loop, and it actually will be El Clone on the other side and Mark Davis on this side. But either way, it's going to be 4-on-5. He could end up being the 5th person for that group. Also possible it could be Will Ospreay, seeing as how, you know, he was forgiven by Kenny Omega for what he did. So maybe he'll look at the situation with Kyle Fletcher and forgive Kyle Fletcher for what he did. Oh, and guess what? Don Callis wasn't done recruiting, as he's still trying to recruit the Young Bucks, and he would implore the services of the Rainmaker. I don't know if that helped out at all by any means, as they did not really look too happy to see him. They weren't mad, they just didn't look really happy either, so yeah. Next up, though, we have a women's tag match of Mercedes and Athena going up against the Babes of Wrath, and let me tell you right now, they might be called the Babes of Perk, because once the Perk started hitting in Willow, oh baby, did Mercedes and Athena start stressing. And also once Chris Statlander came out to chase off Billy Starks and then start chasing off Mercedes Moné, well, the Perks would activate even more in Willow, and she would hit the powerbomb onto Athena, and then Harley Cameron, who was the legal competitor, would get the pin over Athena, meaning that the Babes of Wrath are going on to round 2. I love how I basically predicted this entire thing playing out. I said that Chris Statlander was going to chase off Mercedes Moné, which was going to distract Athena, causing her to get pinned in the match, and I do believe now that at some point in time, this is going to lead to Mercedes versus Athena, possibly even Athena costing Mercedes the belt at Full Gear, leading to Mercedes versus Athena at Final Battle for the ROH Women's World title. Or maybe Athena cost her the ROH TV title match instead. One of the two. But I do believe we're getting that second match at Final Battle. Either way, though, like I did say in my women's tag team prediction video, I do believe that if any 2 women are the most deserving of these belts in this tournament, it is Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron. Willow has just been an absolute star for AEW, who's been horribly, I mean criminally underutilized by Tony Khan. The fact that she is not an AEW Women's World Champion already is insane. And the fact that she's not a multi-time TBS champion is even worse. And then for Harley Cameron, ever since earlier this year, she's just been absolute money, fireworks every single dang week. Everybody loves her. She's super entertaining. You could put her anywhere. You could put her alongside Mercedes, Chris, Tony, Willow. It doesn't matter who you put her beside. She is absolute gold every time she is on the screen. And I do believe that these two women, while yes, you could say that Mercedes and Athena or Tony and Mina would have been great for exposure because of how big of stars they are, this right here is going to be the best decision for Tony Khan to make if these two women do end up winning the entire tag tournament, which I believe that they will win the tournament. Especially because most of your belts are held by heels, and after Full Gear, I do believe that FTR will be holding the tag belts, which will mean that your men's tag belts, your men's trios belts, your TNT championship, and your unified belt, along with your TBS belt, and possibly even your AEW Women's World Championship, if Mercedes does beat Kris Statlander for that belt at Full Gear, will all be held by heels, except for one belt, that being the Men's World Championship. So we kind of need some more faces, and you got a whole lot of heels in that women's tag division, especially if Tony and Mina decide to turn heel as well. Today, speaking of titles, we're back to more titles because AEW introduced a new belt called the AEW National title. Now, I just made a whole entire video on this, so y'all can go check that out. This belt was not needed by any means. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Especially when you just had the international belt and then you had to get unified, so you introduced a new title, and then you also introduced the women's tag titles this year as well. We didn't need any more belts being announced. This could have been held off for like another year or two, to be honest. Something that don't need to be held off, though, is these refs getting fired for not doing their jobs. Why are you not having a DQ in this match? He is choking that man out with a foreign object. A foreign object. But this would be match 2 of our men's advantage matches for the Blood and Guts match. And it would be Darby Allin going up against Daniel Garcia. And Danny Boy tried a whole lot of tactics. But in the end, he could not run from that Scorpion Deathlock. If I said it once, I said it so many times now. Wrestling and writing just do not go hand in hand, because I hate the fact that only in wrestling, the only form of fiction there is where the bad guy will do so much damage and the good guy will do very little damage, and somehow they'll just win in the end. It's not like that in any other piece of fiction. The good guy usually does more damage to the bad guy. I hate it so much, and I wish wrestling would stop it. You can call it nitpicky all you want. I don't really care. Afterwards, though, the Death Riders would come on out to attack Darby Allin and all them. And then eventually, Roderick Strong with one knee would chase off all the Death Riders. That's also, again, just, I don't really like that either. One guy chasing off 5 dudes. Really? Really? But if there's one thing that truly grinds my gears, it's when 2 bald frauds, or really any frauds in general, and yes, by the way, Cash is a bald fraud, even though he ain't bald. He's bald by association because he's cool with Dax. These bald frauds were being mean to Bandito's abuelita. That sweet old lady ain't do nothing to either one of y'all for y'all to be mean to her. Now, before any more harm could come to the Bandito family, as Bandito's brother did try stepping up for his abuela, Brodido would punch through a damn door, specifically Brody King, and start choking out Stokely and then chased off FTR afterwards. Good job on you, Brody King. And I will say this, while I'm not always the biggest fan of FTR, there are times when I do like them, but there are times when I feel like they're just a little too much on my screen. This segment made this whole entire feud that much better because they probably won't be investing so much into it. Not going to be like the main thing, as that likely will be Mercedes Kris Statlander, Hangman Samoa Joe. The fact that they're giving this feud just enough, even though it probably is pretty predictable to all of us that FTR is going to be winning this match, is great, because predictability is not bad as long as the buildup is good. That's what I'm always going to stand on. Look at WrestleMania 40. We all knew that Cody was going to beat Roman, but because the buildup was elite, we didn't care that it was predictable. And that's the same thing here. As long as your buildup is good, it does not matter how predictable it is. I could see it coming from a mile away, which I feel like I did, because I've been calling that FTR was going to be the ones to dethrone Brodido for a long time now. I thought they were going to get the belts before Brodido, but once Brodido got those belts, I said, oh, yep, those are going to FTR, and then likely going to Cope and Christian afterwards. And hey, shout out to my bald short guy with no host, Stokely, because while he might be all 3 of those things, he is not lacking in muscles. Being able to keep both Bandito and Brody King's big selves in a closet is pretty damn crazy, if I do say so myself. Although you probably should take into account the fact that, Brody King could just easily punch through a door. Or at least, got like a kendo stick, a steel chair. Any one of those two really would have worked a lot better than you just standing by the door. You gotta be a little smarter, man. If you're gonna be bald, at least be intelligent. Come on, Stoke. Also, bad job, though, on Toni Storm, because how you gonna do my guy Juice like that? You're gonna leave this man for Mina Shirakawa? I have you know right now, Juice literally saved me from a burning building. Save me from a burning. That is a great man right there. I cannot believe she did that man like that. Oh, poor Juice. Come here, Juice. It's okay. I'll give you a hug, man. Come here, Juice. It's okay. But anyways, Megan Bayne wouldn't really like that. She wouldn't like the fact that, Toni left Juice for Mina. So she decided to take out her anger on Mina Shirakawa and was whooping her ass all up and down this match. This was also match 1 of the women's advantage matches for the Blood and Guts match. And the reason why it's Megan versus Mina and not Megan versus Amanada, even though it's supposed to be Megan versus Amanada, is because Amanada ended up picking up an injury in that last match versus Sisters of Sin. Also, guess who else was mad about Toni Storm leaving Juice for Mina Shirakawa? Marina Shafir. Started choking her ass out. And then Megan Bayne would hit that running powerbomb on Mina and get the 1, 2, 3. And then all the women would come on out from the Blood and Guts match, start fighting each other, except for Mercedes Moné, who saw all of them fighting and was like, Look, I got about 12 other problems to deal with. I don't need to get involved in this. And Marina Shafir looked very much so upset at Mercedes. Just like I think Hangman might have been a little upset at Hook. How the hell you gonna rage bait Samoa Joe and then you get hurt? Bruh, you the one that done organized this whole Trios Championship match, and you gonna go out there and get hurt? Obviously, I'm playing, by the way. But in this Trios Championship match, though, Hook would get taken out by Powerhouse Hobbs, so would Hangman Adam Page, and the team of the Opportunity would get the big win in the end. Now, I will say this, while the match itself was just fine, I really need the Opportunity to drop these Trios belts now. One, they don't feel like a Trios team at all in the slightest. They feel like a bunch of individual wrestlers. Two, I feel like they're hurting the belts more than they are actually helping the belts, seeing as how they just keep winning a bunch of random thrown together matches. And three, there are two very much so deserving teams out there that could really make these belts a lot better. Those being the Demand, and LFI, especially LFI. My goodness, the fact that you have not used Roosh, he's about as criminally underutilized as Willow Nightingale. Or, just drop the Trios belts. And since you're introducing the national title now, you have every much so the reason to do so, seeing as you got a bit too many belts now and you don't have a split roster. Now, as for my hot takes that I'll be having at the end of every one of these recaps, I think Mercedes Moné is going to turn on the heel team. I've said it before and I said it again. I don't think Mercedes really needed to be in this match, although it does add to the story of her and Chris Statlander. I don't think she wants to be in this match. She's been wrestling a whole lot. She has plenty of matches going forward as well. She has a match that week for a championship as well, while also defending one of her championships at the beginning of that week. I don't think that she wants to be a part of all this. And I think she's going to end up turncoat and leaving that match. Because think about it. Mercedes Moné definitely has gone after people. She's gone after Chris Statlander multiple times in the past. She's gone after Tony. She's gone after Mina. She's gone after basically anybody that's ever stepped to her. But this time, even though she would have had the advantage had she gone in there, she decided to not go in that ring at all. So yeah, I think Mercedes is going to turncoat and run out that match as quick as she possibly can. But like I said though, y'all, this was an absolutely fire episode of Dynamite. Y'all go ahead and let me know down below y'all biggest hot take coming out of this episode. And as always, if you haven't already, make sure you like and follow for more.